halal boys and girls out there, the COVID vaccines are completely 100% halal, okay? What happened? He got COVID and he just deteriorated. Help yourself and help the community, guys. I'm a fourth year medical student at the University of Cambridge. I think vaccines are great. Throughout history, as I'm sure you're aware, since Jenner first started vaccination, they've saved millions of lives, and vaccines against COVID are the best public health measure that we have right now. There are many different types of COVID vaccine, but in general, what a vaccine does is it effectively trains the body's immune system to fight the infection better when you actually get it for the first time. So the vaccine itself contains an inactivated virus or a part of the COVID virus. So having the vaccine itself means you can't actually get COVID from the vaccine. When these parts enter your body, what happens is the body's immune system develops a response against these, and so when you get the virus for the first time, the body is trained, it'll recognize the virus, and it'll destroy the virus before it can actually make you ill. The COVID vaccines actually work in different ways depending on which of the vaccines you get. Some of them actually use very recent technologies, some amazing technologies that were only actually developed last year. But one of the ways in which they work is the virus uses these little hooks, which we call spike proteins, to enter our body's cells. So it enters through our nose and our mouth, it attacks the cells of our lungs, and what that does is that gives rise to the COVID symptoms such as coughing and fever, etc., etc. So what the vaccine does is it gives the body the code that the virus uses to create these little protein hooks, which, as I said, we call spike proteins. That way, when you get the vaccine, the body's defense mechanisms, the immune system, will train up a response to attack those spike proteins, so that in future, if you actually do get COVID, the spike proteins get attacked and the virus can't actually enter our cells. So what actually happens is that you'll get the virus, but you won't end up becoming ill from the virus. Very good question. I think that people, some people are reluctant to get the COVID vaccine for many, many different reasons. One of the biggest reasons I've come across is that people just aren't aware of how safe these vaccines are. When it was first coming out, I acknowledge that we didn't have long-term data, but now millions of people in the UK and hundreds of millions of people across the world have had these vaccines. They're incredibly safe vaccines. The most common side effect that people report is really just a sore arm at the injection site. Some people feel a bit groggy, but what you have to appreciate is for the vast majority of people, these are vaccines with very, very few side effects. The second reason that I've come across as to why people don't get vaccines is people don't really realise that COVID is a pretty serious medical condition. So I've had placements in accident and emergency, and it's not just the 70, 80-year-olds who end up seriously ill with COVID. I've seen people end up on ventilators. I've seen people end up on some pretty serious medical interventions with COVID who are in their 40s and 50s. So I was at a major hospital where they were performing a very niche medical intervention to replace the function of the lungs and the heart. There was a 42-year-old, perfectly healthy guy, nothing at all, no diabetes, no heart problems, no lung problems. He had a family. What happened? He got COVID and he just deteriorated. He ended up on this intervention for 100 days or so, and then he was on a ventilator for an incredibly long period of time. He was probably this close to dying. Now, had he had the vaccine, I think the current data shows that he probably would not have been in the same state. I think people aren't really made aware of just how bad COVID can get. These vaccines are incredibly safe. Well, some people think that the COVID vaccines that we use in the UK contain animal products. So that we have 4 vaccines that we're using in the UK. So we use the Pfizer-BioNTech, the Oxford-AstraZeneca, the Moderna and the Janssen vaccine. And according to the Health Authority website, none of them actually use animal products such as lactose or gelatin. So for all you halal boys and girls out there, the COVID vaccines are completely 100% halal, okay? Let's put it out there. Young people, COVID should be just a mild illness for them, and most people don't actually get any symptoms. But the point is, you're not just protecting yourself. The COVID vaccines protect everyone in the community. So it's not just you, it's your mum, it's your dad, it's your grandma, it's your grandpa, and especially the elderly relatives you have. Getting the vaccine is going to help you stop spreading COVID to them. Because COVID in elderly people can actually be quite damaging, as we found out. It can lead to long-term problems. It can increase the risk of them getting other more serious illness, such as bacterial infection, get them pneumonia, which we definitely don't want. And unfortunately, one of the biggest risk factors for dying from COVID is age. So getting these vaccines means that you're not just protecting yourself, you're protecting everyone. So it's the best thing to do to get the vaccines. Help yourself and help the community, guys.
Firnaaz, I really lack in body confidence, and one thing I was really worried about going to get my vaccine was, taking my top off and it being really embarrassing. So how was that?
Well, that's a really good question. I think lots of women are worried whether they need to take their top off when they have their COVID vaccine. But actually, there are two things you can do. First of all, it's just a little jab on the side, so you can just roll up your sleeve up to here and get the jab. The other thing is, if you feel uncomfortable with that, all of the vaccination centres that I've been to have private side rooms available where you have a chaperone. So someone else will come in just to help you feel more comfortable, and you can get your vaccine administered there if you think that would be more helpful for you.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
No worries.
And what was your experience of getting the vaccine?
So I got one of my jabs here in Cambridge, the first one, and two of my jabs in Birmingham actually. It was absolutely fine. I just requested a vaccine online on the NHS website. I got an email confirmation, queued up on the day, showed it to them. I went in, they jabbed me, I came out, 10 minutes, I was absolutely fine. It was a 35-minute walk away. It was a very nice day. I was able to do. I ended up playing tennis the same evening. Had absolutely no side effects from my jabs. I was able to continue on with doing the things I wanted.
Cool.
For all you halal boys and girls out there, the COVID vaccines are completely 100% halal. Okay? What happened if you got COVID and you just deteriorated? Help yourself and help the community, guys.